It's way too early in the morning for this. Alright, let's go. So wrap these shoes up already. Dope. I gotta come up with an intro. Alright, how are we gonna come up with a dope intro? What are we gonna come up with? Let's practice vocals. Practice your vocals first. You always mess up on your vocals. Alright. Supreme sneakerheads are superior hypebeasts. Supreme sneakerheads are superior hypebeasts. Remember, all raffles aren't rigged. Remember, all raffles aren't rigged. Yesterday's Yeezy release yielded yet another L. Yeezus. Yeah, for real, I got another L, man. So, I mean, can you help me out? You know what? Screw this. Let's get this video started. What's good, everybody? This is Suheel with Feelgood Threads, and today we're gonna get you guys lifted, introducing the color-changing Man on the Moon 11s.
These companies trying to sell me like I'm Barristan. Start with my craft, get it ghost like Kerrigan. There is no comparison, first gen American. We on the same side, Reggie Wayne, Marvin Harrison. I'm a young man who kinda old school, reminiscing, playing NES and on my cousin's Sega Genesis. Search me on the internet, you find that I've been in this. Spidey senses tingling, my nemesis is venomous.
Today we're going to be working on another pair of Jordan 11 Legend Blues for Martinez Hagens, and what I did with these guys today is completely different than what I've done with every other 11, and you guys are going to go along the ride with me here. This is my first time actually doing this kind of a custom. So what I mean by that, guys, is I'm going to show you guys today exactly how to do a galaxy print on the upper of these kicks here, and at the same time, although the patent leather on these guys look white right now, they actually color change into a nice deep magenta color that kind of goes with the galaxy print theme that we're doing today. Along the way, guys, I'm going to show you guys how I ended up messing up the upper, changing it to a color that didn't match with the patent leather. You guys will see me do some stencil work. You guys will see me doing fading with airbrushes. I mean, this video has a lot of content and a lot of material that I hope you guys will take advantage of. So with that said, guys, this took me about 3 weeks to tape because of so many different complications and challenges, but I did get through it. So shout out to Angelus for obviously providing me with the paint to do the uppers. I also went with a pigment style paint that changes the bottom patent leather to a color, another color actually when you hit the sunlight. So I'll show you guys that in a moment. But with that said, guys, let's get started with this tutorial. Like I said, there's a lot of things, so you guys better grab a notepad and a pen and take some notes, y'all. Let's get this started right. Alright guys, so here comes the fun part of this tutorial, at least for me, because I've never done this before, so you guys are kind of rocking along with me as we try to make these Jordan 11s here turn into color flipping Jordan 11s. So I've already got this guy all nicely prepped. The patent leather portion is ready to go, and I'm going to just detail out and make sure that everything looks nice and clean and white, crispy white, before I drop on what is hopefully going to be a successful color change paint. Again, guys, this is what the color change pigment looks like. I picked it up from Solar Colored Dust. They don't have an exact red, they have magenta, which is kind of going to be the closest I'm going to get to this guy today. So I've got to be very careful on how I spray this, because I want to make sure that the magenta that comes out actually matches with the entire upper. Now, if for some reason it comes out too dark, for example, it looks like a wine or a red wine color, I might have to go back in now and change the top portion to match with the color changing portion. So I'm crossing my fingers that that doesn't happen. Let me show you guys what I've done so far. I've just taken, this came with the actual pigment dust. So when I got this, all I did was I opened it up, I took out, which was, I hope this is a gram, I'm assuming this is a gram, and I just dropped it in this 1 ounce container here. I got this, actually Angelus has these for like 99 cents. They're very cheap, and if you want to hold paint like this, which it's important for me once I make a batch of this. I don't know when I'll be making another batch again, so I like to save it if I can, because there might be another project coming up in the future. And now instead of going through and mixing this all over again, wasting material, I've already got it all set. So that's why I don't mind spending a little bit to have a good clean container. So I'm using that dust, I just dropped it in here, and we're gonna be mixing it with neutral. Okay, neutral is by Angelus. And let me tell you guys what neutral is. It's actually, let's put it this way. Neutral is like an invisible paint, okay? It has the same thickness and consistency of the other Angelus paints. So since it has that thickness, it can help hold up this pigment powder. It'll suspend it inside of the paint. Rather than all of this like pigment powder here, once I put the neutral in and mix it very well, the point of mixing it very well will help kind of solidify this pigment to go into this neutral, and it'll have it like nice and consistent and flow. I may add some too thin, and the only reason I would do that is to water down and make sure this pigment powder is thin enough to travel through my actual airbrush. Okay, a lot of times, like when I first started to actually go through and test like different glow pigments and stuff like that, that's what my problem used to be, is that I would pick up pigment powder that was too thick, because these are like really fine crystal pieces, but they're so crystallized, they're so small. Sometimes if you get them too big, they will not go through this nozzle piece here, which is the exit point of your airbrush, which I'm putting in. So if it doesn't go through this nozzle because it's too thick of a pigment powder, then you're gonna have a lot of trouble shooting this paint consistently. And right now, guys, you want to make sure that your paint job here is flawless, because this is the last and final coats that we're really doing before we gloss this out. And you want to make sure that it looks crispy, like there's no different pieces that have hair or lint or any kind of residue, that the actual prepared surface isn't oily at all. You want to make sure that it's completely prepped and ready to go. So it's vital that you guys get this step right. So word of advice for you guys: take your time, number one, but number two, make sure your airbrush is completely cleaned out, especially the nozzle portion here and the front portion here where the paint is spraying out. I would 100% recommend you just test it on some spray patterns on like a cardboard that's like that has a light texture to it, and then you take it out into the sun and you check to see like, all right, so is there a consistent red that I'm spraying, or is it blotchy? Because you're gonna need the sun in order to make sure that the shoe is completely fulfilled, or you can get UV lights. But for me, it's a nice sunny day today, so let me shoot this guy up. Let's before we do that, let me put these to the side, and I'm gonna show you guys how to mix this neutral. So again, you gotta shake up the bottle and make sure that you have a consistent neutral, okay? And then the too thin is already very watery, so you don't necessarily need to shake it up, but I do anyways. And now let me pour the neutral in. Again, guys, the only reason why we're using neutral, again, it's like an invisible paint. So when you pour it into here, and when this guy is sprayed on the shoe and it actually settles out and dries, all that's gonna be left is this invisible paint, which you could see through, and it will be completely dried up. But these particles here will be dried into them. That is how you're gonna get that color change from white to red, is making sure that this was consistently mixed together and you guys sprayed it correctly as well. So let's jump onto the neutral here. So I'm gonna probably stop a little bit halfway through. And I'm actually doing that on purpose because I want to make sure I introduce too thin. I hope if you guys didn't catch what I just did, I was pouring the neutral and I was taking a look at what the consistency of this neutral came out looking like. So did it come out in a nice clean fashion where I could tell the consistency was there, it flowed out like almost like milk, or was it kind of clumpy? And if it was clumpy, or if it looks like it was getting clumpy, to be safe, I'll drop a little bit of too thin in there. I would say I dropped in maybe 1/8 of too thin. And again, I'm just putting that in there to make sure that we have a nice watered down paint, so when it flows out of this airbrush, it'll smoothly hit that surface and we won't have any like paint remnants or anything else that's making the finish of this Jordan 11 any different than it would look like when it was a factory shoe. All right, so I've got this guy all mixed up. Let me get a clean stick here. I've got a clean stick here. And all I'm simply doing, guys, is taking this stir, it's a coffee stir, and just mixing it. That's it. So that part is not rocket science, but you know what, I'll tell you one thing. As I mixed it, I can see a little bit of pink coming up from the top, so I know that it's definitely mixing. But now what I'll do is I'll close the cap up. And again, guys, this might be a little less than an ounce. It's just a guesstimate. But you want to make sure you shake it, because what that does, now you've mixed it left to right, up and down. All right, guys. Now, if you want to be safe, what I would do is I'd take this out to the sunlight, or I'd look at it in a UV light, because then you can definitely assure that this paint is now completely mixed and you're ready to shoot it. I've got the brush here. Let's load a little bit. A little bit at a time, guys. You don't want to overwhelm yourself, because what I've learned about dropping too much paint in at one time is if this guy gets clogged, then you have to take all of that paint out again. That's a pain. So if you want to save yourself some hassle, pour in maybe like a quarter or at most a half of a cup of paint at a time and work in small segments. So usually what I start with, I'd like to start with the inside if I'm doing something new, because if in case it doesn't come out as clean, at least it's on the inside of the shoe rather than the outside, which is more seen, or the toe box. So let me first test this guy out, make sure it's flowing. Now I'm looking at this in a lot of light, so I can see where this clear paint is going, guys. That's important for you to know if you're overspraying in an area or underspraying. So I'm gonna just start with the light layer, guys. You guys notice that I'm doing it from the top down. And what I'm doing here, guys, is I'm trying to get it from the top down so it sprays in a nice wide even fashion, and I'm trying to get it from a further distance, because as you go further back, guys, and you pull this trigger back, the further back you pull the trigger, the more paint will come out, but the further back you have the airbrush, the more the paint will spray in an outward fashion. So it kind of gives more coverage, and it kind of helps ensure that you're not going to put too much paint in one spot and cause like a wet puddle. Okay, so if you guys see like a wet puddle, almost like when it's raining outside and you see like a little puddle, if you see some kind of a puddle like that of paint, that means you've oversprayed in that area. Stop spraying in that area, let it dry out, and then you can go over the coats when it starts to dry out a little bit. Okay, so again, go from a top fashion like I'm doing. Use the light to guide you. Move this shoe so you can see where you're shooting. You should be able to see where the paint is coming out from your shoe and what part of the shoe is actually being hit. I didn't go too heavy on purpose, guys, because again, I don't want this to come out super red, like a dark burgundy red that makes the top look, completely off. So I'm taking my time here. I'm doing a light coat on purpose because I'd rather go from like it being a light pink and saying, okay, that looks too light, let me darken it up, versus me just spraying it with a lot of pigment and then going outside and realizing it's too dark now and there's not really a way for you to go back. Okay, so that's why I'm doing that. Plus, it's a good habit to just do light coats anyway. So I've already done this one shoe. Let me jump on the second shoe now. I'm gonna take these guys outside in a minute. Let me give them like a couple of minutes just to settle out and dry. but this is what they look like as of now. Freshly painted. I don't think that there was much of a color change on it. I do want to reference how easy it comes out though. I haven't had any clogs or any issues. I don't see the paint gun or the airbrush sputtering or giving any issues with it, and it's giving a nice even coat. So with that said, guys, I wouldn't continue to do this until I go outside and check my first coat to see how it's coming out. It could be blotchy, it could not, and hopefully with the finished product we'll see how successful or how unsuccessful I've been. All right, with that said, guys, I gotta go to the sun real quick. I'll be right back. Alright folks, so I'm back, and I didn't even take you guys outside with me because I took these outside real quick in the sun and they almost didn't change at all. So I'm hoping that I just maybe put too light of a coat on these guys. So I'm gonna go through again. I'm gonna hit it with another coat. So hopefully this second time around I'll still have sun outside. It's about like what, 5 o'clock or something. So hopefully we'll have sun. If not, I might have to show you guys tomorrow. So watch what I do, guys. Just taking the time to spray over on the top. This is me working just on the toe boxes.
Been in this, spidey senses tingling, my nemesis is venomous. Peace to broke musicians making tips upon the promenade. Rich rappers still slaves, rocking chains, Amistad. Hindus say namaste, Muslims say salam alaikum. Lock it like a combination, rock it like a bomb with patience. Fighting off the occupation, writing off the cost of plan. Trying to build a buzz like I'm hyped up off the operation game. It's a hard road, say it's my asphalt. Blaming myself, I don't throw shade to pass salt. Less than millions bland, I just want a million bands. Cause bands make a dance and she say that you the man. I'm just saying, like Kakarot or Goku. Fresh, I got them dope moves. Order miso soup that got that tofu. Smitty's fried fish, South Koreans cooking soul food. Drive around the hood, guarantee there ain't no Whole Foods. Came a long way from being stuck up off them road dubes. Focus on the real, be yourself, get to know you. Out of sync, out of sight, out of mind, gotta think. Lot of ink, kinda dry, bada boom, bada bing. Daily grind, rise, shine, working out the office now. Made a little money now, my old man's is prouder now. Test driving BMs, now I'm off on weekends. Been like 5 months since I was blowing on them weed blends. Maybe I'm a grown man, maybe I'm a system slave. Artist from the hardest for this to get you paid. Give a struggle rapper a shovel, tell him to dig his grave. Laying in the bed he made, stuck in dead off beds he played. A lot of L's getting raped up on that river card. Gas shut, heater broke, life will make you shiver hard. Past blunts, in the past smoking in my boy's garage. Bullshitting, politicking, dreaming it's a damn mirage. We couldn't handle ours, got a grip like handlebars. Throw my shit on wax, see the heater make the candle gone. Rap to me is easy now, CB known to ramble on. But I'm still the same, bro, shop at Vaughn's with sandals on. Copping food for thought, cause thinking is in recession now. Do this from my heart, that mean my art is in progression now. Plow.